So there's a statistic out there, like 1% of people actually make money trading stocks, 10%, whatever it happens to be. The truth is 9% of people make up statistics on the spot, and my statistic is that 10% of people are profitable trading, 1% of people can actually make a living trading. So I'm currently part of the 10%. Slowly trying to make my way part of the 1%. I really want to be able to self-sustain and make a living for myself, basically just investing, whether it's whatever sort of investing avenue I decide to go down. My ultimate goal is a bunch of different sources of income, right? And basically, the thing about the market and how to become profitable in the market is, I think people look at trading, especially in the beginning, it's really not what you think it is. You really don't have to be a genius in math. You really don't have to, be some whiz kid. It really doesn't have much to do with any of that. I mean, even to the extent of even having to know what a balance sheet and income statement is, you don't really need to know. I highly recommend it for long-term investing, but the truth is, a stock is going to do what a stock does. And what ultimately makes a stock go up is the confidence in the stock. That's why you see stocks, especially tech companies, trading at 200 PE ratios. A good PE ratio is 20, but yet that stock can still keep going up with a 200 PE ratio. So, I mean, all these different indicators and all these different ratios are great for, identifying different opportunities, but they're ultimately meaningless. And, when it comes to being a profitable day trader, and I kind of got off on a tangent there of just investing in general, but this video is about how to become a profitable day trader. It really comes down to emotion and a process. You need to have a process. You need to trust your process. You need to be dedicated to your process. You will lose money if you don't have a process. If you just go in over trading and just trading everything you can, you're just going to lose money because you don't know what you're doing. You're just randomly doing things, and you need to have a process. It took me 3 to 4 years to really build the process that worked for me, and each person is going to be different. Each individual is going to be different. I mean, and also too, the biggest thing about a process is knowing how to lose. I mean, you look at Dan Bilzerian. I mean, everyone loses. He just bet over $1 million that Conor McGregor was going to lose, and I mean, his reaction to it was, his next tweet after was, haha, shit. Like, damn it, he just lost. And see, the difference between gambling and trading is, if I was going to bet $1 million on a stock, I'm not going to lose $1 million on a stock. I'm going to lose what I want to lose, because there's something called stop losses. And I can go over what stop losses are and what they are in the future, and they are absolutely 100% part of how I trade. Every time I enter a stock, I know exactly how much I'm going to lose and how much potential there is to make, how much meat there is on the bone. I don't necessarily know how much I'm going to make, and I can go into how I enter and exit a stock, but everything for me in my process is my entry. My entry is absolutely everything, and if I lose, even if on a $2 stock, if it's 10 cents, if I'm that dedicated on my entry, then I'm losing that 10 cents, and I'm waiting for another opportunity to get in. Everything to me on my process, and it might be different for everyone else's process, but it comes down to my entry. And how I lose is, I mean, I lose every day. It's not a question if I'm going to lose, it's a question how I'm going to lose. I lose every single day. But the thing is, I'm losing very little, and when I win, I'm winning a lot. Winning is easy. The things I have to deal with every day is FOMO, fear of missed opportunity. Maybe I didn't get my entry. Maybe I was too dedicated on getting, that perfect entry that I missed it by a cent, 2 cents. You know what that does to you emotionally, watching you yourself be right when you could have made $200 in one trade in 10 minutes? I mean, it messes you up, and then you end up overtrading the whole day and end up losing a ton of money. Maybe you end up not using a stop loss, and then you just end up being way backwards on a stock, right? So there was actually a study just recently done. I just recently read up on it, and when it came to stock market, they actually put whatever there was to test people's brains, right, from what their brain did, how their brain reacted to when they made money in the stock market, and what a cokehead did when they were high on coke. And there was no difference between the brain of someone who just made money in the stock market to someone who was high on coke, right? So this game is not math. It's not statistics. I mean, it's a little bit of probability. It's actually a lot of probability, but what it is emotion. It's probability and emotion, I would say, what it mostly is. And you got to know how to deal with that. You got to know how to cope with failure. You got to know how to say, that's enough, I'm out. You got to know how to get that high and say, I hope it goes more. You should never, the minute you find yourself hoping is the minute you start to chase. And you are chasing a stock, and I do it all the time. The most disciplined investors do it. If you finally follow some guys that are actually making money, and you talk to these guys who are actually making money, and I'm friends with some of them, and they all say the same thing. They all talk about the same thing, and they actually need each other to say, dude, you're chasing, because you get drunk on the market. The market's a high. It's a rush. And that's why some of us keep going back. I mean, you wonder why 90% of people lose money. Why do they keep doing it? It's because that 10% of the time or whatever percent of the time they make money. I mean, it's like crack, man. You get high on it. You get high on being right. So the only way you can deal with that is being disciplined. The only way you can deal with that is learning how to deal with your emotions. And that's such a weird twist to what these gurus and people say in the market, because it's always, I'm right, I'm this, I'm that. The truth is, I don't know what a stock's going to do. I have an idea because of my process, right? So you'll see some of the best people in the world investing saying, don't ask me what stocks to get in, because they don't know at the time. They don't know it until something finally lines up perfectly and they get an A+ setup, right? So if you truly want to be profitable in the market, I truly believe there's an X amount of dollars you need to lose just because you need to learn your lesson, right? You can sit here and listen to everything I say. You can sit here and listen to everything someone who is part of the 1%. And, obviously I'm only part of the 10%. You can listen to everything they say. But the truth is, you kind of naturally tone out when they talk about failure, because you want to be successful and you want to be that guy that just made $1,000 in a day. Or some people, I know a guy that made $30,000 in a day. I'm not at that level. My highest is just over $1,000 in a day, right? So, but my ultimate goal is just be profitable. If you just be green every day, those big days will come. You can't lose money. And when you do, you got to lose very little. So if you truly want to be profitable, identify a process. You're going to lose money. It's going to take you time to identify a process. If you're already at the point where you have a process that you think is successful, don't trade with a lot of size. At my point right now, I'm finally a professional trader, and I'm not trading with a ton of size. I'm just basically, it's easy to make a lot of money. It's hard to make a process that is successful. Once you are consistently making money, once you're making money 5 days a week, I trade 3 days a week, right? And once I'm making money every single day consistently, then all I got to do is add size. You make $200 a day, there's 252 trading days a year, you're making $50,000 a year. You make $400 a day, you're making $100,000 a year. You make $2,000 a day, you're making $500,000. You make $4,000 a day, you're making $1 million a year. Very possible. So stick to a process, find a process, identify your strengths, know your weaknesses, and attack the market.